I think that's just where like the old man gamer in me comes out, and it's like, if you're calling them chores, I think then we need to reevaluate why they exist. They're a retention mechanic designed to, fire off dopamine in your brain, but it only lasts so long. It can last several years. You're going to get your money out of it, but I hope to goodness that we see those kind of mechanics avoided here, because the real thrill of logging in should be the game itself and not some kind of like, I'm going to get, because I even to this day will just pop into Guild Wars 2, open my box and pop out just to keep getting my dailies, and I don't like it. It's like, I want, like, all right, I don't have time, but it's like, and the solution isn't to make it unlimited to where those stack up, because then essentially people feel so overpressured to, like, I've got 32 things to do, I have to do before I can go do the fun thing that I want to do. Like, if I just wanted to log in today and fish in Final Fantasy XI, I totally can, and that's what I hope for New World. I hope that maybe one day I just want to log in and just fish. I don't have anything I got to do. I don't have to go check off these boxes because I've logged in, and they're like, it's my monkey brain. It's gonna be like, all right, I got to go do this, and then I'll suffer the consequences for it. Now, we've talked a lot about what we want to see in the game, but one of the things we haven't really touched on, I've saw chat touch on this here a little bit while we're streaming, weapons. We talked about expansions, we talked about these things. 11 weapons in the game at launch. We got weapons added over the course of this last year as a part of alpha. What's missing? What do you want to see? And it doesn't have to just pertain to weapons, but let's start with weapons, and let's go with you, Red.
So I think the best answer is probably more like healing weapons and magical weapons to kind of balance out. There's a lot of melee weapons right now and a lot of like physical damage weapons. So obviously get that balance nice and tied up. The time setting that the game is in kind of opens it up to almost any weapon, like they had mentioned. And I think one of their developer videos about their inspiration on the time setting is that, it's that period briefly between, like, where sword and shield and that sort of combat, and then when, like, gunpowder and everything was starting to be developed for like muskets and all those other things. But dude, I'm gonna dodge a little bit. I kind of want to see them. I want to see them tie weapons together, like the two choices that you make in the weapons. I want to see something there, like, because eventually the game might have like 30 weapons or whatever, and that's awesome. I hope that does happen. But I also would like to see some like mini system that says, oh, you've chosen the musket and the ice gauntlet. Well, here's like this one like passive ability or active ability that kind of shows that you're like this musket ice gauntlet type of person. So I don't know, man. I think definitely they need to balance out the magical aspects of the game, but also I would like to see some system tying the weapons together in some small way.
Yeah. What about you, Dan?
I'm actually like I'm the polar opposite, to be honest. Like I'm such a I grew up being such a Lord of the Rings nerd, like proper, and I just imagine these kind of Helm's Deep style battles where everyone is kind of sword and shield and very kind of gritty on the battlefield, and then you have these one or two guys, your Gandalf, for example, that is wielding this kind of magic weapon, and it kind of makes him a bit more special in the game, and then there's just a lot of that kind of medieval type combat, and I think I said before, oh man, why did they bring out this ice gauntlet? Oh, it doesn't make me happy. But then I saw it and I was like, this is so cool, it's really awesome. But yeah, I would love to see things like obviously your great sword, maybe a crossbow, but then also things that are kind of themed to the scenarios that are coming out of the territory. So maybe with like Ebon Scale Reach, we would start to see things like katanas or these kind of themed weapons around the different territories. But yeah, a bit of an opposite there from you, Red.
I definitely agree with the magical properties, because like we have healing, we have fire, and thank goodness we have ice, because it's like our magic consists of fire and some and a healer with little light balls or whatever they're doing over there. But ice is a good choice. I think then obviously in my mind, from a magic perspective, we don't have to like get too crazy at the start. I like to see more of the elements in that regard. So kind of we already have fire, so earth, wind, water, heart. I don't care. Just Captain Planet being summoned, and we'll go from there. I definitely I'm a caster at heart. That's what I really enjoy. But I did really enjoy playing with the sword. I did enjoy the hatchet. I'm looking forward to seeing how different combinations, because if for those of you who are listening haven't been following all the updates, in the preview you could have 3 weapons. Now it's reduced down to 2, which I think is going to help for more nuanced class design with the skills, especially when you start looking at how attributes impact all of your different weapons and how those play out. So I think it'll be interesting to see how and what people end up choosing in terms of their class. And as they introduce new weapons, I think that's going to be something that hopefully expands and becomes even greater with time. But easily, like obviously, great sword would be thematically really cool. I like what you talk about with the katana. Obviously, very like iconic looking, weapons. And then I think of like, well, what is the role? What is the purpose? And I would fall on the lines of, adding in either dual wielding. So that way, essentially, if you want to take 2 swords, that's great. But it would have to impact you because you don't have shield skills at that point. So then maybe allowing some of the other classes to have the shield itself, like the hatchet and shield. So you can end up having different kind of combinations in terms of what kind of role that you're building out. I would also, just the old schooler in me, would love to see something like a real bard, like a support, like a pure support style class. So then all of a sudden you're like, oh, we have instruments now, and we got who knows, like whatever that would look like. But it'd be hard because especially in an action MMORPG, like I think that role might be very, very limited. I sit back here and I just play my songs, like don't do anything else. What's up, Danny?
I was gonna say one thing that I think is really unique about New World, and I've had, some of you guys might know, I kind of just sit and stream and talk New World a lot of the time now. A lot of the conversations are, why is there only 3 skills? Like, what am I supposed to do? People aren't used to kind of what seems from the surface quite a limited set of abilities, but I think it's amazing that you are pushed into using your left click and your your heavy attack as part of your, let's want for a better word, your rotation. And I think that's such a cool part of the weapons, that it's you use what it is. That doesn't make much sense, but a lot of the time in MMOs you'll see that they have all these amazing abilities, lots of them, but within New World you actually use your left click and your heavy attack, and it becomes part of your.
But you actually have 6 skills though, because the skills don't share a cooldown anymore. So your build literally is the 2 weapons. You actually have 6, and it all probably would be some form of rotation in which that would be there's definitely going to be synergies in regards of your skills, your weapons, how that plays out. Especially then how it plays out versus PvP. The thing that concerns me when it comes to all of our conversation about like weapons and your skills and things like that is that your weapons play off so heavily your attributes, and either that means you're going to kind of be locked in to one thing, or they're going to have to put in some kind of build mechanic so that you can kind of swap with ease. Because if I'm constantly having to like recalculate and rebuild, like hopefully that doesn't become something on the fly, but something where it's like, if I come up with this really cool build, that I could save it so that I can experiment in other ways. So I'm not sitting here having to go to paper. All right, I did this 16 in this skill, and like I got this weapon, and I think that's going to be interesting. Now, Evan says Ginger Bard could be using the wind magic instruments. There you go, the elements of wind coming in through that. Thank you so much for checking out this highlight from Epic Loot Radio. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe button, and more. And check out our other channels, Ginger Gaming Radio, Ginger Prime, and Work to Game for more content. Thanks for being here, and you're awesome.